Almost 3 months ago now, I set about rebuilding an old Dell PC to be an XP gaming machine. And while it did take a lot of time and a lot of headaches, I managed to get it up and running and working smoothly. The one downside to that machine was that its graphics card was very weak. So it's time to change that. We found that the machine came with an FX 5200, I believe, NVIDIA graphics card, and it was a very low-end, nothing special kind of card. I kind of always knew that the graphics performance wasn't going to be great. It was fine. It was fine for playing 90s games, but it really struggled with those sort of 2000 games, at least on anything other than low settings. So it's about time we change that and we look for a new card. We are limited by the fact that this machine has an AGP slot. It doesn't have PCIe for graphics. So there is kind of a hard limit on how good of a graphics card we can get. And I kind of like that. It means that we kind of cannot make this machine too powerful. It is going to be very kind of middle of the road and just a realistic experience. So I went looking about to see what kind of cards were available on the likes of eBay. And originally this GeForce 7600 was actually sent to me as an option. However, unfortunately, the person sending it didn't know if it worked, and the answer was it did not work. It was kind of dead on arrival, which is a big shame because this would have been a fun card. It definitely wasn't the most powerful AGB card available, but it would have been a big upgrade from what we previously had. So, unfortunately, I had to put that to one side and go back to trying to find something to buy. And what I managed to pick up is this ATI 3650, which, again, not the most powerful card available on an AGP slot, but it's quite close. It's actually one of the kind of last generation, more powerful cards that you can actually get for that slot, which is cool, because, you know, I think that's a good limit to go for. We've got a single core Pentium 4 in here. We're never going to have a monster gaming machine. So we want a realistic machine, and I think this card is exactly what we need. So of course, naturally, we're going to get it installed and we're going to do some benchmarking and see if we're happy with the result. All right, let's crack this open and get the card changed over. This thing weighs an absolute ton. That is the biggest complaint I have about this machine. It is so heavy. But I do like the sliding mechanism around here, which just allows the case to come off, and we are straight in. So this is our little card over here. Let's get this out and then we'll get the new one in. So here's the old card, very plain, tiny heatsink, and this is our new card here, which is definitely, you can tell, is more powerful because it has random CGI'd robot girl on it. That's how you know that it's good, honest. Does also require floppy power, which isn't actually something you see very often, I don't think. It's normally Molex or is new enough to be just the PCIe power. Anyway, let's get this in. Alright, that's the new card in and power supply. I will say there's one thing very annoying about this case. This rivet just here, if it's going to focus on it, I'm not sure it will, but that rivet there completely blocks getting a card into this slot. You really have to kind of force it in, which is a little hairy, shall we say. But it's in, it's done, let's get it booted up and let's check it out. Okay, here we go. So this is all installed and ready to go. And as you can kind of see from GPU-Z, it's a much more powerful card. I really like this kind of end of the AGP era. It gives a nice kind of bottleneck to the system. So yeah, of course, I could go crazy with an XP build that's basically got a modern GPU in it and is way more powerful and can do all the things, but I specifically wanted something that was really powerful for the middle of 2000s. And, you know, this card was released in 2008, and I think that's just kind of that hard limit that I like. So we should be able to do a lot with this, certainly a lot more than the card that was in the machine previously. So let's give it a go. Let's get some gaming done. Of course, we have to start with Half-Life. It didn't play too great previously. It was playable, but it wasn't smooth. This is running in DirectX mode, and instantly you can tell that it is buttery smooth. We have a stable 72 frames per second for some reason. Not sure why it's kind of locked at that, but these older games have weird frame rate locking and stuff. Point is, it is as smooth as butter, and obviously as well you get all the nice DirectX goodness instead of having to rely on software rendering. Yeah, really happy with this. This is kind of flawless. Not really a test for the system, to be honest, which I'm not surprised about. This is obviously a game released at the end of the 90s, so essentially 10 years before this card came out. I would expect it to be able to play flawlessly. So alright, let's get on to something a little bit more challenging.
Play.
So this is Unreal Tournament 2004, one of those games that I really remember playing fondly as a kid, and this is running at maxed out settings, and as you can see it is buttery smooth as well. We're not dropping below 60 frames per second, which is exactly kind of the thing that I would want from this kind of game. It looks really good. I must admit, I think the graphics really hold up quite well in 2024. It's still 2024 just. Yeah, I think the graphics hold up really well, and it plays perfectly on this machine. Very happy with this. Considering on the old card it was running between 20 to, pushing up to 40 maybe frames per second, and that wasn't at the highest settings. This is glorious. I could play this forever. And in fact, I am going to play for a while, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Well, there we go. We won the match. I can still just about play against AI. Okay, let's try something else. Now, Half-Life 2 is a game that really struggled with the old card. We were struggling to get 10 FPS. Now, I've put it on the native resolution for my monitor. Something about 4:3 aspect ratio that just screams mid-2000 gaming for me. And we're using the settings that it's recommended, so mostly set to high. We'll see how that does, but I think either way it's going to do a lot better than it did with the old card. Let's load up a new game and let's see how we go.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until, well, let's just say your hour has come again. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
Well, instantly, this is a much more playable experience. Okay, we're not hitting 60 FPS. It's still, taxing the system somewhat, but we're staying above 30. And frankly, back in the day, I was always just happy with that 30 FPS. I didn't have the best of monitors. I didn't really notice anything. As long as it was a consistent frame rate and it was above 30 FPS, it was completely playable by my standards. And frankly, this works. This is exactly kind of how I remember playing Half-Life 2. And yeah, it's smooth. It's hanging out how I would expect. With all the settings turned up, you get the nice reflections. The textures look good. Yeah, I'm really happy with this performance. This is exactly what I wanted from this machine. So kudos to it, I guess. Yeah, now I want to replay Half-Life 2. We might have to do that soon. Okay, we're now going to jump ahead to something that really did push the poor little FX 5200 to its knees, and that's Doom 3. I also remember playing this as a child, which I probably shouldn't have because it's kind of terrifying, but I definitely did. And let's see what it's like on this machine. I mean, instantly, it's already smoother. We were getting issues on the last one with just the kind of UI. Let's see what settings it's kind of defaulted to, and we will go from there. So it's running at the native resolution for the thing. It's set to low quality at the moment. We'll see how that stands, because bearing in mind with the old card, we were struggling to get 30 frames per second on like the lowest resolution possible. So yeah, let's start a new game and let's just see how this handles it, and maybe we can bump up the graphics settings. Okay, here we go, and yes, this is a taxing game, that's for sure. Now we are dipping down, but in all fairness, it's much more playable, and we are getting up to that 60 FPS.
Welcome to Mars City. Union Aerospace.
This is one of those games that really was, at its time, very graphically impressive. And I think, even at the low settings, at this high resolution, it looks really nice. So using the scan hardware for optimal settings, it's actually suggested we dip down the screen size resolution and increase the video quality. I'm interested to see what that'll look like. We need to restart the system, but let's check it out. Okay, well, running it at the low resolution, higher graphics settings, I mean, yeah, it does actually look pretty good, even at this low resolution. That's quite interesting. We're not getting as good a FPS. I think younger me would definitely want to run it at a higher resolution with lower graphic settings, if I'm honest. But it's still pretty impressive. This is a very demanding game, all things considered, and the system is handling it well. I'm very happy with this. Okay, there's one more game I want to try, which the old card wouldn't even start to run. So let's check it out. And that game has got to be Oblivion. I never actually played this when it came out, but I was very excited to try and give it a go on a XP machine, and with the old card it just didn't run at all. It was like struggling to get a frame per second. So let's see what it's like on here. And here we go. This is running at, again, the native resolution for the monitor on medium settings, and okay, we're dipping down to sort of high 20s, 30. You know, it's entirely playable. I'm very happy with this. I don't even know how to get out of here. I need to find a key, I guess. Interesting. I think that's what that says, right? How do I should have probably looked up the controls beforehand, but who needs to worry about controls? Like, what does this do? I can punch the bone. Okay, well, I need to look into this further, but in all honesty, this is completely playable, and considering it would barely run at all on the old machine, this is perfect. I love this. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this machine. I have got so many games to play. There goes my Christmas holidays. Well, there we have it. I am now very happy with where this machine is. Let's be fair, these kind of builds are never complete. There might be changes I want to make in the future, improvements, performance enhancements, little changes here and there, but for now, this is exactly what I set out to do, to build an XP gaming machine that was kind of targeting around that 2008 era, which was really when I started properly gaming as a teenager. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. This is exactly what I wanted to achieve, and yeah, I've now got a whole winter holiday ahead of me with a lot of old retro XP gaming to do. There's a whole load of titles that we didn't cover at all that I really want to check out. So yeah, I'm going to get to that. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It's still a very small channel, so every single subscription really does matter. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.